Hello guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Omonova. Thank you for coming back, returning subscribers, and if you are new here, you are welcome. I film about myself, basically film about my lifestyle, career, my family, and just my everyday today life. That's all I film about. So you're welcome to my YouTube channel once again. And please, if you have not subscribed, please kindly hit the subscribe button, subscribe to my channel, like my videos, and also share them. So today I'm going to be talking about the story behind my relocation. That is my JAPA story. And JAPA basically means relocation from one country to the other, for those that might be watching that doesn't know the meaning. So as far back as 2016, before I wrote my nursing council exam, my mom had told me that she wanted to collect a passport, that is international passport, for me. And she went ahead, she started the processing, and one day she just called me and was like, oh, I should come to so place for capturing and this and that. So I went there, did the capturing, and then I got my passport. And that was even before I wrote my nursing council exam, because she's been like, oh, medical professionals are needed outside of the country. So once I finish writing my qualifying exam, then I can proceed to starting the relocation process, blah blah blah. As at then, I wasn't so interested in traveling. I am pro Nigeria. I am a good ambassador of Nigeria. I'm all for, oh, let's live in the country, it's going to get better, let's wait and make the country better. I didn't fancy living outside of the country because I just love Nigeria actually. And the following year, 2017, she was like, oh, when are you going to start the processing to traveling and all of that? And as at then, I didn't really know much about traveling. Like, I didn't know the basic information, the requirements. I only knew that, oh, they were like, you're going to take some exams, you're going to do this, you're going to do that. But I wasn't so interested, and whatever you're not interested in, you don't really make research about it or find out about it. So it didn't really occur to me to start to do anything about it. So my passport was just there all along. I think the only thing that passport was useful for was verification of identity. That was the only thing I used the passport for. Then, as at 2020, the beginning of the year, I wanted to like, okay, let me take this relocation thing serious. Let me start the processing. I was praying about it, and God told me, I was like, oh, it's not yet time to go or to do anything about it. So I didn't take any steps. 2021 April, my husband was preparing to like travel for his master's degree in the UK. And so we had to like do our wedding so that I can come in and be his dependent and all of that stuff. I was like, okay, it's fine. If it is now time to take my traveling seriously, then so be it. My husband started his own processing, and then eventually later that year he traveled. So when he traveled, following year was 2022. I then decided that, okay, my husband has traveled, then it means I have to join him. Eventually I would have to relocate, right? So we had two options. Either I come in as a healthcare worker, that is as a nurse that I am, that is following the skilled worker pathway, or I go through the dependent route. So we weighed our options, and we chose coming in as a skilled worker, since the job is going to be sponsoring the trip and sponsoring the visa and all of that, and it was more economically wise for us to do. So we chose the other way, instead of coming in as a dependent, having to start the process when I come in. So we're like, okay, let me start the process while I was in Nigeria, get a job, and then come in through the job, you get. And then I was still doing my BSc as at then. I was in my final year. I was running also my pediatrics program then. So it was just wise for me to finish all of those stuff I was doing already before traveling, right? The year 2022, I started the journey fully. I was preparing for my IELTS, and for my IELTS story, there was before, because I was really scared of the IELTS, because everything I hear about IELTS, like that's IELTS, was that the exam is so hard, it's so difficult, people don't pass it. It's like, you know, the negative stories that keep flying around them. So I was really scared of taking the exam. That was even one of the things I was even scared about, the whole relocation story, because I'm like, I don't want to be doing the exam and I'll be failing and all of that. So I remember watching the Betty O, shout out to the Betty O. I remember watching a relocation video and a hired story, and she was like, she wrote it once, and that was like the first person I was seeing saying she wrote IELTS once. I was like, what, are you kidding me? So you can write this exam once. So why are people now like saying the negative things about this exam? So it was a video I watched then, and I'm like, okay, if she wrote it once, it means I can write it once as well. So that video became like a point of reference for me. Every time I was practicing for the exam, then I'll keep watching the video. Like, it was just like, you know, when they say you key into somebody's testimonies, that's how the video was for me then. And that's why it's good to share your story, because you don't even know who you are helping. Assuming she didn't film that video now, who knows? So I did my IELTS and I wrote it once and I passed as well. Mind you, I had renewed my passport as at this time that I was saying, this 2022, I think April. I renewed my passport. I wrote my IELTS exam June. I passed once, and then I registered for my CBT, passed as well, and then I started looking for a job. Yeah, and this was where it started getting interesting. Mind you, my husband had traveled at this time. I was still in Nigeria. We're living apart, like long distance marriage, and you know that one is even story for another day. I remember one afternoon I was speaking with my husband and I was like, oh my god, I have not had a job offer yet, and people were complaining that job was getting difficult, getting jobs were not easy. So I remember that particular afternoon I was home and I and my husband prayed about it, and then my child, oh my god. So we prayed about the job and it was like, I should not worry, everything is going to be fine, I'm going to get a job. And just few hours, I think about 2-3 hours after the prayer, I just received a mail that I've been invited for an interview. And then it was like I was so surprised. I'm like, oh my god, it was so miraculous for me. I did the interview, I got the job. Next day I was waiting for the HR's mail. I didn't receive it. I kept on waiting. I'm like, oh my god, what's going on? Then I sent a response back to the interviewer that sent me the congratulatory message about passing my interview, and I was like, oh, I'm still awaiting the mail, the response from the HR, blah blah blah. And they were like, I should just be patient, that they're going to send me an email. And I'm like, okay. I didn't even know what I was in for yet. And this was in July, right? So eventually, August 9, I received the response from the HR that she sent some of my documents. She sent it. I was even hoping that it was going to be like fast, like pa pa pa. I sent the document. I waited for weeks again before they responded that she sent another. It's like I sent it back to them, the things they needed again. I'll wait for weeks again before they will reply the mail that she sent this again. So just back and forth with them. And this entered into September. So September, about the end of September, I sent a mail that I'm yet to hear from them. They've not proceeded with my pre-employment checks, this and that. I'll keep checking my track accounts. It was just the same. There was no going forward. So just like I was static. So then I received this response one afternoon that, they're so sorry. She's so sorry. Like the HR responding to me that she can't find my, I think, application number on a track account. And I'm like, what do you mean you can't find my track application number? You can't find my application number? What do you mean? I was like, can you just check? I've been receiving mails from you. People have been sending me mails and this and that. I forwarded her all the mails I've sent before, and she was like, she's going to check that probably it's just a track account that is acting out. I'm like, oh my god, which kind of spiritual problem is this? And it was then I knew that I needed to take my prayers about this more seriously, because the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, right? Then I started praying about it very actively, because mind you, this was already September, and I and my husband had already planned that, okay, like we've already had a stipulated time for me to have all this processing. Like, you know, like when you're in a long distance marriage, of course you should be looking forward to a timeline that it was going to end, and it had already passed that timeline. So it was now getting more frustrating. I've been without my husband for this while, and all this is happening when I've already gotten the job, and it was like we're already halfway through the process, and then will I now start dependent processing all again? So it was just a bit chaotic. Eventually one afternoon she then responded and said, oh, she can now find my applications again, that she can find my application number now, and then I should proceed with this and that. It was really a hell of a waiting period. Like, that kind of waiting period was just, it was a real waiting period for me. I was just like, most times I'll just be moody, I'll be sad. At the end of it all, it wasn't really even the relocation that was my major focus. I just wanted to be with my husband. Like, I just wanted to be with my man. So eventually, after back and forth with the application, I've sent all my documents, yet they weren't forthcoming with the COS. End of November, I just received a mail that the proof of address I sent was already expired. That can I send a new one? Oh my god, I was already frustrated at this point. It was like, oh my god, why this again? I will send it now, people will still keep me waiting. So I sent a new one, and then funnily there was a day my husband was like, you know what, I'm going to send you a message, and I want you to send it to this HR, like the HR involved, about 3 HRs involved in the whole processing thing, that he's going to send me a message that he send it to them. So he sent me a very long message, and that afternoon I was like, it wasn't formal, it wasn't informal, like it was just in between. It was that informal message written in a formal way. So he sent me that message, and then I sent it to the HRs, and just like the following, that same week, can't remember actually, but it wasn't so long after I sent that message, one of them just messaged me and was like, she's going to send me my certificate of sponsorship at so time. And then 1st of December, that was how I received my certificate of sponsorship. It was like the happiest day ever. Like, finally this is happening. Eventually I applied for my visa, and then I got my visa, and voila, I relocated. It's a story of patience, just like many other person. Mine as well is also a story of patience. Like, for me, that I'm not such a patient person, this period taught me how to be patient. I'm not even imagine having to go through a process. Let's just say I started April to December, such long time. And this time, all those people that knew that I was married, and they would be like, oh, and they also knew that I was living apart from my husband, they were not even making matters good. They were just always asking me, when are you going to meet your husband? Like, at a point, it was even so frustrating for me. Stop asking me questions, because even me, I don't know. So it's just like, it won't end. But eventually it ended, and I just want to thank my friends once again, because oh my god, they were really there for me throughout that period. They were just consoling me. Like, it was, the process was bearable because of them. And yeah, that is my relocation story. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for coming to my channel. Thank you for subscribing. If you have not subscribed, I'm thanking you in advance. Thank you for subscribing. And yeah, thank you guys for watching. Leave a comment below, like my video, share my video, and see you in the next one. Bye.